Hello everybody, my name is Ryan Armstrong and you are watching Apologetics for Christians on YouTube. I know it's been about a year since I've posted my last video, Objections to Christian, 8 Biggest Objections to Christianity, objection number 4, which I was working on objection number 5. However, my computer crashed and, it is really hard to sit down and write 2,000 words all over again that you just wrote. So, and I mean, I didn't just write it, it was way back when I had stopped, making the videos. But the point is that until I can get a computer that is working functionally again, I'm going to just make some little mini videos with my regular old camera, and I'm going to try and get back in the groove of actually posting on here because, it's been a while, and I know that I haven't been really doing that. Even in the Apologetics for Christians group on Facebook, I haven't really been that active, but I'm going to try and fix that. I'm going to try and, try and be more active. I've got still almost 400 members, and, I know that not all of those people, keep up with me, but hopefully if I start being more active on there, they can, get immersed into the Christian faith again and, maybe be re-anointed by the Holy Spirit. So, really looking forward to it. The semester's almost to an end. I've only got like 3 finals and a paper and a few other tests that I gotta, get out of the way, and then I will be completely focused on, work, of course, and doing what I love doing, which is speaking with you guys, learning from other people, and I know that it seems like I just get in arguments, and I'm very, how should you say, stubborn when it comes to like my views. But something that I was wanting to point out is that when I make these videos, I do put a lot of thought into what I say. I don't just go out here and say random stuff, just trying to get people to agree with my views. I am administering to the white and black of these situations. I am not concerned with the gray, mostly because typically in most situations, the gray area is the very minuscule area that has a very small relevance on the topic. I'll take, for instance, my suicide video I did a while back. I've had a few comments on there from people concerned because they think that it's not a sin. And while the Bible does not explicitly say that suicide is a sin or not, I think we can take things that Jesus implied in different circumstances to kind of say, hey, this is probably a sin because it pertains to a lot of what these other things say. I mean, you've got the 10 Commandments that says, thou shalt not kill. That includes everybody, even yourself. And I was reading Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe. It's what that movie Fried Green Tomatoes is based off of. And in the book, Evelyn Couch, she hates her body so much that she often thinks about killing herself because she can't stand the way she looks. And Miss Threadgood said, well, that's like putting the spear in Jesus' side right there. The Lord doesn't want you to go and kill yourself because he went off and died for you. And I think that's something that we tend to forget about these topics. We tend to think, oh, what if somebody's terminally ill, or what if somebody's in extreme pain? What if somebody's just old and they just want to kill themselves and they should have the right to do so? Well, we're talking about not the vast majority of suicides that we have. Every 12 minutes, a person kills themselves in the United States. Most of the gun crimes, since suicide is technically a crime, are suicides. And I think that we need to really focus on what matters the most. What is the most prevalent? What is something that we see every day? We don't see all these other things every day. We see them on a very small basis. Just as I will go back to my abortion video. While I tend to have a pretty right-wing view of abortion, I think that in almost every single circumstance, abortion should be outlawed. I don't think that it should be. I believe it's murder. But for the very, very small percentage, there was one guy, he was wanting to raise up this idea that, well, there's a certain condition when the mother is like meth addict, riddled and whatnot, when the baby is basically born without a brain, so it has no consciousness, and it's therefore just a body without a brain is not you don't have anything. It's just a body. Just like when a person is dead, their soul's no longer in their body. That's basically how they're born. He said, so shouldn't abortion be, allowed in this circumstance instead of letting them just be stillborn and, put in the morgue as soon as they're, born and everything? Well, we're talking about something that happens 1 in every so few million infants. Something that is extremely, and it's just a red herring that people throw out there to try and throw you off of what the real thing is. The real thing is over 54 million infants have been aborted since 1973, and the fact is that the large majority of those are elected abortions that are just for the fact that the mother does not want to have another person in their life. And I'm sorry I have to be so blunt with it. I'm sorry I have to be so stubborn in my views, but that's just how it is, and I don't think that's right. And I think any person who is confronted with it, I don't think they can really uphold the view that it's perfectly fine to kill an infant. Recently, a Planned Parenthood associate, I cannot recall her name, but if I can find the article, I'll put it in the description, the link to it. But they're talking about after birth abortions. Like after birth abortions, you're talking about a living, breathing infant that should be taken to a nursery or at least put up for adoption. But no, they think that they should be able to neglect an infant that survives through a, quote, botched abortion. And that's, in my view, pure evil. I can't think of anything, more extreme than that, concerning the topic of abortion. But while I'm getting on those, I just want to reiterate, I really put a lot of thought into what I post. I don't try to be logically inconsistent, and if I do come off as logically inconsistent, I do take what you say into consideration, and I do think about what I say. I try to think of what, how my arguments are structured. I don't just say, oh, well, they're wrong and I'm right. I'm not infallible. I'm a human being. And I don't claim to be an expert in my field, but gosh darn it, I'm going to try. And I'm someday I really want to be the person that people go to ask these questions for, because I don't want to be afraid of those questions like everybody else. I don't want to be afraid to have my faith confronted with something that seems utterly contradictory. It's just something that I feel like in order to have faith, you have to have doubt, and I do have doubts every now and then, but my faith is strong in Jesus Christ, and for me, I have too much evidence to be an atheist, and if you can't love me for that, I don't know what to say, other than you waste your time concerned about things that you shouldn't be concerned about. But on the off end, I was wanting to talk about morality and politics, concerning the Christian right, and it's really interesting because people tend to vote for people that are more aligned with their pocketbooks and not really aligned with their religious views or their morality views. That didn't come out right, but you know what I mean. So, but it's just really interesting because you've got extremely religious people. The black Protestants in America tend to be the most religious in terms of sociological principles. Like they attend church the most, they pray the most, they say grace the most. They're more often going to reference scripture in everyday circumstances. That sort of religiosity. They tend to be more religious, and yet they vote for a liberal, the liberal side of politics in America. And it's just really interesting because I'm not criticizing people for doing this, and I just want to reiterate, I do not judge on here, but I just want to point out it's just really interesting because in America we tend to put our priorities in the wrong direction, because when you think about it, everything I'm experiencing right now, sitting here making this video, sitting in my apartment, I'm paying bills, I'm going to work, I'm going to school, but all of this is only for a short-term end. What really matters, and what everything, teleologically goes forward to, what we all try and get to is eternity, and we all eventually get there. Now, whether we get to the good side or the bad side depends on our choices that we make during life, and I think that we're really underestimating what eternity really is, because while 80% of us in America agree with Christian doctrine, or we claim to be Christians, we're not really concerned with, what's going to happen to us when we die until we're on our deathbed and it's too late. Which technically I believe that it's not too late as long as your heart's right and you ask for forgiveness. But the thing is life isn't guaranteed. And I'm not just picking on black Protestants. I'm also picking on white people that are extremely wealthy, because they have very liberal views. They tend to have extremely liberal views concerning abortion and everything. And it's really interesting because they go to a Protestant church and everything, but they do it for economic purposes. They do it for socials gatherings and such like that. And I think that, God is going to condemn that. And I'm not saying I'm any better than that. I haven't been to church in 2 years. I will be completely upfront with you. I didn't even attend church on Easter when it just passed by. And, I regret not going. But I feel like, I know that I have the time for it, and I know that I have no excuse to not go to church. And I know that, that's something that's going to be asked of me someday. I'm going to have to answer for that. Why am I not more active in the church community? And to put it plainly, it's because of gluttony. I'm extremely lazy, and that is something I'm guilty for. So I'm not picking on particular groups. I'm not, judging anybody. I'm just saying it's really interesting how we put our priorities in different areas. And once the semester ends, I'm hopefully going to switch to, I want to switch to mornings, but it looks like that's not going to happen. So I guess I'll go all nights, and that way I can have Sunday morning off to try and find a new church. That's going to be my quest once the semester ends, to find a new church. I'm going to try a bunch of different ones. But let me think for a second. Going back to what I was saying, I'm just excited to get back into the apologetics page. I'm excited to be getting back into doing what I love most, and that is talking about these things. While while I may not be involved in the church community as much as I should be, I feel like the impact that I make with this YouTube channel, whether it be extremely minuscule or whether it actually means something to somebody out there, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I feel called to make these videos. And while I may irk you sometimes, while I may not get on the right topics every time, I just want to let you know that I'm really thinking about what you're commenting, and anything that's serious, anything that somebody says that's not derogatory, or anything like that that's in the comment box, I will take into consideration. I promise you that. And I will address it if I feel like it's necessary. And I'm going to try and be less stubborn. I'm going to try to seem less stubborn. I don't think I'm really that stubborn, but who knows, I may actually be. But in the meantime, I'm just going to be doing these mini videos. I'm going to try and think of a few topics for these next couple of weeks until I can get out of school and start working on doing what I was doing. And so I'm happy to be back, and if you want to email me any suggestions or anything, you can email me at awesomejesuslove@hotmail.com, or you can go to the Facebook page at www.facebook.com/groups/defendyourfaith, all one word, URL, and I will get back to you. And until then, I will see you next time. Jesus love.